I trust that you are enjoying these moments, these morning moments with me as much as I'm enjoying them. Really. I mean, this is really wonderful to be in the Word like this, first thing in your day. If you don't do it first thing in the day, any time of the day will be good. Well, in fact, I suggest you listen to this morning and night because this is really significant for our lives going forward. I'm going to jump into Hebrews chapter 39, verse 21. Joseph is now in the king's prison because of Potiphar's wife. The poor guy, and I say that with a bit of a tongue-in-cheek, the poor guy, here he was with his brothers who were going to kill him. They sold him into slavery, and now he's been a slave all these years. Now he has a false accusation. Now he's in the king's prison. But just notice how this starts. But the Lord was with Joseph in the prison and showed him his faithful love. Doesn't matter what confinement you are in. And I use the word confinement because that's what prison is. It's a confinement. Doesn't matter. You may be confined with whatever situation you find in your life. Sometimes it feels, and this is the best way, I've used this terminology a few times in these sessions, sometimes it feels like your hands are just handcuffed. You know, if you have your hands handcuffed in front of you, I mean, that's bad, but you can pretty much get around, do things with your hands handcuffed in front of you. I've never been handcuffed, so, I mean, I've just seen it. But if you're handcuffed with your hands behind you, the reason people get handcuffed with their hands behind them is because it's a lot more difficult to do anything. It's a much more vulnerable position, and whoever has got you in handcuffs with your hands behind you has got far more leverage and far more control over you. And this is Joseph in prison. You know, it must feel like he's got handcuffs on him with hands behind his back because every time he feels like something's going good in his life, he gets put backwards. But the Lord showed him his faithful love. And look what the second part of that verse says. And the Lord, this is the Lord that was with him, and the Lord made Joseph a favorite with the prison warden. The Lord made Joseph a favorite with the prison warden. It doesn't matter where you go, what you do, what situation you find yourself in. If the Lord is with you, He's going to favor you. And watch what the next verse says. Before long, the warden put Joseph in charge of all the other prisoners and everything that happened in the prison. You know, if you just look at this in isolation, and I've done this fairly purposefully, I've been describing to you how the favor of God was always on Joseph, no matter what happened to him. The dream was God's dream, and he was in a perpetual cycle of pressure and demands and commands, and he felt like he was a slave sometimes. He must have felt like he was a prisoner sometimes. But it's amazing that it didn't matter what situation it is he was in, the Lord was with him. The Lord's faithful love was with him. And the Lord made sure that he was favored. It's a wonderful thing that if you walk in the favor of God, there is nothing in life as sweet, as amazing, as glorious, as wonderful as the goodness and the favor of God on your life. And if we keep our eyes on His goodness and His favor and His faithfulness, our dream will stay alive always. If at any point in time Joseph decided that for some other reason he was going to worship another god, he was going to worship Potiphar's god, he was going to worship, or he was going to give himself over to Potiphar's wife or something else, then, you know, that would have been something that would have taken him potentially away from the favor and the goodness of God. But he kept his heart straight, he kept his mind straight, kept his faithful to the dream. And this scripture says that the warden placed everything under Joseph's hand. When we come back and talk the next time, I'm going to go straight into what God was teaching Joseph at that time. He used every situation to teach him management, to teach him faithfulness over resources, people, running away from corruption, many different things. I'm going to talk to you about that in the next one.